The entire case was a ghost story. In 2019, the convictions were vacated. In 2023, a federal judge found Henry Lee liable for fabricating evidence. But the damage was done. This case forces us to look at the terrifying machinery of wrongful convictions in America, because Henning and Birch are not alone. When we look at the data, we see a system that is not blind, but biased. The numbers are staggering. According to the National Registry of Exonerations, Black people make up about 13.6% of the U.S. population. Yet they account for more than 50% of the 3,600-plus exonerations. Since 1989, it gets more specific. An innocent Black person is 7 times more likely to be convicted of murder than an innocent white person. And when we look at official misconduct, police hiding evidence or lying on the stand, just like what happened to Henning and Birch, that plays a role in 85% of homicide exonerations. The system is designed to close cases, not necessarily to solve them. It relies on 3 fatal flaws. 1. Junk science. We treat forensics like magic, but methods like bite mark analysis or hair microscopy have been proven to be dangerously unreliable. Coerced confessions. Police can legally lie to suspects, keeping them awake for 24-48 hours until they will sign anything just to sleep. The expert effect. We trust authority figures implicitly. When a man in a suit with a PhD says it was blood, we stop asking questions. Sean Henning and Ricky Birch are free now. The state of Connecticut and the town of New Milford have agreed to pay them a combined total of over $30 million. It is a historic settlement. But ask yourself this: what is the price of your youth? If someone offered you $30 million, but in exchange they took away your life from age 17 to age 47, would you take it? Would you trade your first love, your career, your freedom, your ability to walk outside and feel the sun on your face for a check? Of course not. Money is an apology, but it is not a cure. These men are walking through a world they don't recognize, carrying the scars of a war the government waged against them. Their story is a warning. It's a warning that justice is fragile. It's a warning that expert testimony can be fiction. And it's a reminder that right now, as you watch this video, there are thousands of other innocent people sitting in cells, waiting for someone to open the door. If you want to help, look into the Innocence Project. They are the ones doing the heavy lifting to drag the truth into the light. Because the truth doesn't just come out on its own, you have to fight for it. 4 a.m., the hour of the wolf. The city isn't just sleeping, it's dead silent. The streets are empty grids of asphalt and shadows. But cut the engine of a parked car, roll down the window, and listen. You might hear the faint, rhythmic crunch of gravel under heavy boots. You might see the glint of a rifle barrel under a streetlight. A convoy of unmarked SUVs has just cut its lights, gliding into position with the silence of a predator stalking its prey. Inside, men and women are checking their plate carriers, tightening Velcro, and syncing their radios. They aren't regular police. They don't write speeding tickets. They don't respond to domestic noise complaints. They only come out when the system has failed, when a prisoner has escaped, or when a killer has vanished into the wind. These are the United States Marshals, and right now, they are about to wake someone up. This is the hidden world of the Fugitive Task Force. It is a machine designed for one singular purpose: the manhunt. While most law enforcement is reactive, waiting for a 911 call to happen, these teams are aggressively proactive. They are the hunters. But how do you find a person who has dedicated their entire existence to not being found? How do you track a ghost through the digital and physical wilderness of modern America? Forget the Hollywood shootouts. The reality is a complex game of high-stakes chess, played with advanced surveillance tech, psychological warfare, and an arsenal of legal superpowers that few people even know exist. Today, we are going deep inside the anatomy of a takedown. First, we have to dismantle the myth of the Lone Ranger. You might picture a single marshal with a badge and a gun, but that's not how modern manhunts work. The Fugitive Task Force is closer to an unexpected all-star team of law enforcement. It's a force multiplier. The U.S. Marshals Service, the oldest federal law enforcement agency in the country, operates a massive nationwide network. We are talking about 8 congressionally funded regional task forces, and, as of the most recent data, 58 local task forces spread across the map. But here is the genius of the design. These teams aren't just feds. They are a hybrid. They deputize local police officers, state troopers, and sheriff's deputies, bringing them into the fold as Special Deputy U.S. Marshals. Think about why that matters. A federal agent might know federal law, but they don't know that the guy on the corner of 5th and Main is a lookout for the local gang. A local detective knows the streets, the nicknames, the hideouts. By combining them, you get the best of both worlds. Local street smarts backed by the limitless resources of the federal government. And this partnership unlocks the ultimate cheat code in law enforcement: the destruction of jurisdiction. If a local cop is chasing a suspect, and that suspect crosses a county line or a state border, the cop often has to stop, call the next jurisdiction, and navigate a bureaucratic nightmare. The red tape can slow a pursuit to a crawl. But for a task force member, those lines on the map literally do not exist. They can chase a fugitive from Ohio to Texas without asking a single person for permission. They have the authority to move as fast as the criminal does, and the results of this hybrid model are staggering. We aren't talking about a few dozen arrests. In fiscal year 2020, alone, the Marshals Service arrested over 74,200 fugitives. If you break that down, it's a terrifying level of efficiency. Nearly 300 dangerous criminals taken off the streets every single day of the year. These aren't tax evaders. The task force prioritizes the worst of the worst: murderers, rapists, armed robbers, and high-level traffickers. This aggressive posture traces its DNA back to the legendary fist operations of the 1980s, the Fugitive Investigative Strike Teams. In just one operation, Fist 7 in they swept up 3,209 fugitives in 8 weeks. That was the proof of concept. Today, units like SOFAST in southern Ohio or the Lone Star Fugitive Task Force in Texas operate as permanent, relentless hunting parties. But before the battering ram hits the door, there is the hunt. And the hunt doesn't start on the street. It starts in a quiet room, lit only by the glow of computer monitors. This is the phase that movies skip, but it is actually the most critical. The intel build. When a warrant lands on a deputy's desk, the target is just a name. The goal is to turn that name into a 3-dimensional life. They start with the WIN system, the Warrant Information Network. It's a proprietary, closed-loop database that holds the federal history of every target. But that's just the foundation. Investigators then begin to layer on the data, pulling from state records, DMV files, utility bills, and social media. They aren't just looking for an address. They are building a psychological profile. They are looking for the human error. Because here is the catch. Being a fugitive is exhausting. It is incredibly expensive and psychologically draining to cut all ties with your past. Eventually, everyone slips up. A fugitive might throw away their phone, but they'll borrow a friend's phone to call their mother on her birthday. They might leave town, but they'll use a loyalty card at a grocery store to save $2 on a sandwich because they're running low on cash. The task force looks for these patterns, the digital exhaust of a desperate life. They map out the target's entire social network. Baby mamas, old cellmates, favorite bars, drug dealers. They know who the fugitive loves, who they fear, and who they need. It is meticulous, boring, eye-straining work. But 99% of the time, the mistake is already there in the data, waiting to be found. Once the digital breadcrumbs form a trail, the task force deploys its technological arsenal. And this is where the capabilities get scary. In the modern age, your phone is a tracking device that you voluntarily charge every night. With the proper court orders, the marshals can utilize electronic surveillance that feels like science fiction. You have likely heard of the Stingray, or cell site simulator. Here is how it works. Your phone is constantly shouting out, looking for the nearest cell tower to connect to. A Stingray is a device, often in the back of a surveillance van, that pretends to be that tower. It tricks every phone in the neighborhood into connecting to it, allowing the marshals to triangular the precise location of a specific device down to a specific room. But they can go bigger. The marshals also utilize airborne versions of this tech, nicknamed dirt boxes, mounted on small Cessna aircraft. These planes can fly over a city, scanning thousands of signals across miles of terrain, pinpointing a fugitive's burner phone from the clouds. Combine this with drones that can silently scout a backyard for escape routes, and throwbots that can be tossed into a barricaded room to transmit video, and you realize the playing field is not level. The fugitive is fighting a losing battle against a technological panopticon. However, tech has limits. A satellite cannot tell you if a suspect is holding a gun. A drone cannot look a man in the eye and tell if he's lying. Eventually, the hunt must go analog. This is boots on the ground, physical surveillance. It is the most unglamorous part of the job. It means sitting in a cool car, an undercover vehicle, for 12 hours straight, urinating in a bottle, eating cold food, and fighting the crushing weight of boredom. Investigators have to blend into the fabric of the neighborhood. They have to become invisible. They learn the rhythm of the street. When the mail comes, which neighbors are nosy, which cars belong where. They are watching for the verify. A face in the window, a distinct tattoo, a walk. While the surveillance team holds the perimeter, other investigators might be knocking and talking, interviewing family members, applying pressure, and shaking the tree to see what falls out. They cultivate informants, turning a fugitive's friends against them with the promise of cash or leniency. It is a dangerous, delicate game of human manipulation. But when the tip comes in, when the visual is confirmed, the switch flips instantly. The boredom evaporates. The hunter has the scent, the takedown. This is the moment of maximum danger. This is the fatal funnel. The team stages nearby, going over the hasty plan. They study the floor plan. They designate roles: ram, shield, cover, custody. They drive the final block with lights off, rolling to a stop in front of the target house. The silence is heavy. They stack up on the door, a line of armored professionals moving as one organism. The lead man checks the handle. Locked. The command is given. "Police! Search warrant! Open the door!" The shout shatters the quiet of the neighborhood. If there is no answer, the ram swings. Crack! The door splinters. The team floods the room. "Breach! Breach! Breach!" It is sensory overload, blinding tactical lights, shouting voices, the rush of adrenaline. But notice the discipline. It isn't chaos, it's choreography. They clear the corners, they check under beds, they secure the threat. In a case involving the Southern Ohio Fugitive Apprehension Strike Team, a fugitive tried to scramble out of a second-story window, only to find the house was already surrounded by a 360-degree containment team.